Round 23 of the NRL kicks off tonight, and it starts here at Amy Park with the Melbourne Storm and the Brisbane Broncos. I'm going to be at tonight's game. Let's get into every game for NRL Round 23. So, we open up with the Melbourne Storm taking on the Broncos. Now, last week the Storm took on the Eels and they beat them. I didn't think they played that great. They haven't looked convincing all year, but they are back in front of their faithful here in Melbourne. A great record against the Broncos. I'm going the Storm by 10 points. I thought about Storm 13 plus, but what the Broncos did last week was they annihilated South Sydney, and it was a good win. But it wasn't a full strength team, a lot of injuries going around South, so I don't know how to read into that. I think there'll be some points in this one. Melbourne's defence has been leaky. I'm going with the Storm to win 30 points to 20, and my first try scorer for this game, I know he hasn't scored for a little while, but I'm going to go with Cameron Munster to score the first try. And obviously, as you know, killed it with the Broncos and Eels 2 weeks ago with the Lomax and Eels plus 12.5. Last week, Josh Adokar and Eli Katoa. So try scoring form is pretty good. Next up, it is the Penrith Panthers heading to Newcastle to take on the Knights. And quite often, these games recently have been close, including a couple years ago, a draw. Now, Isaiah Yeo is out for the Panthers. Not too sure of all of the outs and ins. I also know that Bradman Best is back for the Newcastle Knights. The Penrith Panthers were sort of lucky to beat the Titans last week. However, their first half was really, really good. And if they can build off that, this could be a really ugly score. But the Knights aren't going as bad as everyone thinks, in my opinion. They're still scoring points, but a couple of decisions by the coach just aren't working. And I believe Jake Arthur comes in for this game, which is going to be interesting to see how he goes when given his shot. I'm going to go with the Panthers by 10 points here. I am going to go Penrith 1-12. I'm not confident on Penrith 13 plus. I think Newcastle can put a bit of a performance together against a quality side like Penrith. So Penrith 26, Newcastle 16. And my first try scorer for this one, I'm actually going to go with Luke Garner to score a try. So he's going to be my first try scorer. Next up, it is the Canberra Raiders back at home after losing to the Dragons last week. Wow, they have had their first loss in 9 weeks. Taking on the Sea Eagles, who have been shocking for mine. 8 points in the last 2 weeks, 32-4 against the Dogs, then 20-4 at home. They seem to play better away from home this year than actually at their fortress of Brookvale. I'm going to the Raiders here. They're bouncing back. Lehigh Hopewade out. Raiders win well for mine. Raiders 28, Manly 10, and first try scorer to be Sebastian Kris. Not much else to say about this game. What do we have next? We've got the Dragons at home taking on the Cronulla Sharks. I can't remember, but I think this game is at Cogra, so it's a Dragons home game, but not at Wynn, where they have been getting some wins this year. Now, the Cronulla Sharks, they didn't really put the Cowboys to the sword, but they beat them by 20 points, a really nice margin, and it's starting to get a little bit better in form. Poor performance against the Rabbitohs a couple of weeks ago. Good performance from the Dragons. Can they back it up? They're the sort of team to come out and play good football 1 week and then play shocking the next. I think it'll be close, but the Sharks, much like the Storm and Broncos, Sharks have a great record against the Dragons. And for that reason, I'm going to go with the Cronulla Sharks to win by 8 points in this one. I'm going to go with Sharks 24, Dragons 16, and I'm going to go a bit rough here for the first try scorer. I reckon Blake Brayley is going to bag himself a try, so he's my pick. Next up, it is the Dolphins. Now, the Dolphins will be without Herbie Farnworth, which is a massive loss on their charge towards the final. Taking on the Roosters, who have hit some form and about $5 to make the top 8. They do have some tough games coming up. The Dolphins have a bit of an easier schedule than the Roosters to lead them potentially into finals. This is a very hard game. I can honestly see a world where this game goes into Golden Point. And I feel like the Roosters win it if it goes to Golden Point. Now, the Dolphins snatched a win against the Warriors over there in New Zealand last week. That was a crazy win at the end. But look, the halves for mine of the Dolphins in Nikorima and Katoa have been playing great football all year. They're back at home. I'm going to go against the rub of the green here. I think everyone's going to go the Roosters. I'm going to go the Dolphins by 6 points. I don't think it'll go into extra time. I'm going to go Dolphins 26, Roosters 20 in a bit of a high-scoring shootout. And my first try scorer, I'm going to go with Jake Averillo. I believe he'll be playing on the left wing. Next up is the Bulldogs. Now, this game is a great game at Accor Stadium. I believe it is, I don't know what time it is actually, but I think it might be Saturday night. Dogs and the Warriors. Now, the Warriors lost last week, but they put in a decent performance for the most part against the Dolphins there. And then the Bulldogs, what did the Bulldogs do last week? They lost to the Tigers in the rain. They are allergic to the wet. If this game's raining, it's Warriors all day. But the more I think about this game, the Warriors are fighting to keep their spot alive in the top 4. The Panthers are knocking on the door. If the Broncos win tonight here, they could be knocking on the door. But I'm going to go with the Dogs in a very low-scoring sort of grind here. I'm going to go the Dogs to win 20 points to 12. I think it might be some poor conditions in Sydney this weekend, so we'll see. And Jethro to score the first try for mine. Dogs to win by 8 points. Next up, it is the Gold Coast Titans versus the Rabbitohs. And the Rabbitohs have slumped to 8 straight losses. It's crazy what they've done. Now, Titans got a win a couple of weeks ago, but they haven't been consistent all year. This is a very hard game to pick, especially with Latrell Mitchell named amongst the reserves. He has a big chance of coming in and playing. The Gold Coast Titans were unlucky to lose last week to Penrith, but their consistency in football has not been that great. However, they put 2 decent performances together in front of a side that's currently sitting at the bottom of the ladder. And if the Rabbits win, they will put the Titans straight back there to the bottom of the ladder. I'm going the Titans 13 plus. I think at home in front of their faithful here, I think they have the forwards to do it. I think the Rabbitohs forwards are not up to scratch right now. And I think the Titans are going to run over the top of them. I think the Titans are going to win 30 points to 16 in this one. Titans 13 plus in the Spoon Bowl. And I'm going to go with AJ Brimson. I believe he's playing fullback to score a try. Last but certainly not least, it is the Parramatta Eels at CommBank Stadium without Entertain House. It's really, really sad that I won't be there for this clash between the Eels and the Cowboys. The reason I'm in Melbourne is the man behind me filming is a Melbourne Demons supporter. Now, I'm a Western Bulldogs supporter, and I can't wait for the Dogs to win by 94 points. But anyway, let's get into this game here. The Cowboys were embarrassed last week by the Cronulla Sharks. Some people were tipping them, but their defense hasn't been great. Parramatta, this rebuild is working. They're on the up. Even when they're losing games, they're putting in great performances. And what we did against Melbourne last week, besides dropping the ball, I was pretty proud with that effort. As for this game, I think the Cowboys will be up for it, being Indigenous round as well. This is our home game for this Indigenous round. And then we'll play the Rabbits next week, which I'm looking forward to, and I will be there. I'm going to go the Eels 1 to 12 here. There was part of me that wanted to go, Eels by 20, but I'm going to be realistic here, and I think the Cowboys will be up for it. I'm going to go the Eels 28, Cowboys 16, so just on the 1 to 12, Eels by 12 points. I reckon Mitchell Moses is going to score in this game, but I don't think it's going to be first, and I'm seeing everyone back Moses, and the multi on Talking Para, I'll give you an exclusive right now, is Braden Burns, Mitchell Moses, and Joash Papali'i. And speaking of Joash Papali'i, our fullback Joash is going to be the first try scorer in this game. Thanks guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you let me know your tips below. It feels good to be back on YouTube after a while. I've got plenty of great videos you can check out on Rugby League 26. Those sort of videos, and I'm making some videos while here in Melbourne at some AFL games, and obviously the Storm Broncos game tonight as well. Hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys next time.